Happy Monday, VV Nation. Welcome to Midday Market Action. My name is Ryan, your host. It's always a pleasure. I know the alert's just hitting, so let's be patient. Give everyone a moment to make their way into the room. All right, I do see the alert. Looks like it just hit my phone here. People are making their way in the room. See here, the comment section. If you could hear me, if you could see me, put a VV in the comment section. All right, see some VVs coming across here. Hey, Matthew, Pennywise, Marvin, Warren. We got K99s, Dennis. See here, Gala, Tabula, Edwin in the house, Craig. See your Tabula. Hey, Ryan, nice to see you. Seems like a lifetime since I last saw you. Did you have a long weekend, Tabula? Feel like my weekend went by pretty quick, right? It's pretty quick. And this week's going to be a short week. Just a heads up, Friday's stream has been canceled. Power Hour's been canceled too, right, Joey?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I believe it has been. Okay. And if you haven't heard already, we are doing the 2-day investment seminar in Las Vegas this weekend. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday. Hey, I know it's probably too late for you to just book a last-minute flight, but if you want to attend, you can in person. Hey, more the merrier. Otherwise, just a heads up, it will be streaming live on YouTube, okay? So just want to make sure. Bill says canceled. Why? Because we will be, I'm flying out Friday. I'm flying out. Joey and Clay, they will already be there. They're flying out Thursday, so sorry, Bill. I know. I like hanging out with you guys as well on a Friday. Yeah, so it looks like Joey just put in the link there, vectorvest.com/stream. So again, if you can't attend in person, hey, I get it. Definitely check us out. We'll be around Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, we won't be here Friday, but you get us all weekend, right? Get us all weekend. All right. But yeah, so it's going to be a good time. Hopefully, I'll see some of you boys and girls out there. We'll have a good time. Again, I get there Friday at the Venetian. The event is Saturday and Sunday. So hopefully we'll see each other. Not only, during, conference hours, but hopefully we'll get to catch up outside of conference hours. And have some fun and talk about, how we can make some money, right? That's what it's all about. All right, as we're taking a look here, the VectorVest composite, not moved very much, right? Less than 0.25%. Actually, there's not a whole lot of movement in the major indices right now. The NASDAQ moving the most, but still under 1%. I'm not going to be surprised. The market being rather muted, at least the first half of this week. Prakash says gamble. Pennywise says Gemini overtook OpenAI. Are you talking about like active users, Pennywise? I see Google still jumping up again today. We'll take a look at it on the chart. I think it's on one of my news stories here. Yes, okay. So we'll definitely take a look at Google. I like Google. They're a powerhouse of a stock. Got their hands in just about everything. And again, my whole thing is that I think the stock has just been suppressed. We know it's been undervalued. And a lot of it has to do with the antitrust stuff. And a lot of that antitrust stuff is now behind us, right? So we're seeing Google's value really come to fruition. We'll take a look at Google today. Jazz, Tesla's moving as well. Yeah, before we talk about too many stocks, let's go ahead and get to the news stories, really. Because Tesla is one of the stories I've got for you today. I think it's this one here. Yep, there we go. All right, first thing I want to do, I did look at the earnings calendar. It looks like earnings season pretty much behind us. There's a couple companies there. Nothing, really, definitely not really going to move the market. It didn't seem. But if I missed anything, if I missed any stocks that have earnings this week that you're interested in, just put them in the comment section or just remind me later when we get to stocks. We'll take a look at anything. But I didn't see anything really coming up here. Pennywise says, I knew all I needed to do was remain patient with Google. Good. Yeah. That's all it really took. At least that's my take or my opinion. If you see a good stock, good quality stock and it's, trading below its value, that means investors aren't willing to pay a premium for it, right? And I could get it because if you got a big antitrust lawsuit on the horizon. You don't really know, how that's exactly going to affect the company. That could, postpone some of the optimism. We just saw that in Google here. SOFX, okay. Pennywise, FDX has earnings coming up. They're in an industry that's the canary in the coal mine for the economy. Let's see here. Interesting. One big one. But next week, Costco. Okay, that's next week. But yeah, there wasn't many listed, so that's why I didn't really go into earnings here. SOFX, FDX. Bill says, down 'em, cowboy. All right, this week here today, nothing crazy either. We got the Empire State Manufacturing data tomorrow. A little bit of data coming out here. We got U.S. retail sales, import, industrial production. Nothing real crazy. We all know what's about here. It's Wednesday. We got housing starts, building permits. Yeah, that's going to affect maybe some REITs, some housing stock, some home building stock, stuff like that. But what's going to affect everybody's portfolio? 2:00 Wednesday. That's how we're going to kick off afternoon market action. Actually, it's Joey. Can we do a poll? You still have control, right? Can we do a poll if I would just want to vote if we think we're going to get a 1/4 point or a 1/2 point? Because in my opinion, I think we're definitely probably going to get cut at this point, especially with inflation still below 3%. I think the jobs data, I have a feeling we're going to get it, but let's do a poll amongst VV Nation and see if we think we're going to get a 1/2 point or a 1/4 point with this. Prakash has an 1/8 of a point. Tyba says Ryan spoke about RMBS last week. It responded this week. Oh, really? It's moving this week? Huh, interesting. All right. We got Joey's going to do the poll here. Give it just a moment. All right. But yeah, it's 2:00. And then obviously they're going to have the press conference. So we'll be covering that Wednesday. And Joey, will you be here Wednesday for that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Joey will be here Wednesday for that. All right. Thursday, initial jobless claim. So again, that could have an impact at the market. But we all know when it comes to economic data, it's the interest rate decision. Everybody wants to know. Me personally, I think a 1/2 point would signal panic, would signal weakness in the economy or in the jobs market. A little overdue. I'm thinking 1/4 point personally. And I see it's kind of the basis, it looks like, or the consensus in some of the comment section here as well. All right. But yeah, 1/4 point, 78% in the poll. 1/4 point, 78% in the poll here. Ooh, there we go. All right, let's see here. Let's go back. All right, next one here, we got Treasury yields are muted ahead of Federal Reserve's interest rate decision this week. I thought this was interesting. Not only do I think, will the yields in the Treasury markets be rather muted, I think the whole market will be rather muted. I think we're seeing that in major indices today. They're all staying pretty range bound within 1% there right now. But the volatility, we all know it's going to start ticking up come Wednesday, right? All right. Now, this was an interesting story here that I heard out this morning. Trump advocates that companies stop reporting earnings on a quarterly basis. First, I thought, well, that's going to make the market a little bit, a little bit more boring, right? In fact, Pennywise says, in fact, UPS hiring of seasonal peak workers is about 1/3 of previous years. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, Trump's advocating just doing every 6 months instead of a quarterly basis point here. Where was it here? In our experience, quarterly earnings guidance often leads to an unhealthy focus of short-term profits at the expense of long-term strategies, growth, and sustainability. I will say, every 6 months, it would probably reduce some, intra volatility. It would probably reduce some volatility. Pennywise says, yeah, if Trump is saying that, it's a bad sign. Stop it, Pennywise. Stop it. Smackta says economy is scary right now. Buy silver and gold mining stocks. Hey, Gala, I have been talking about gold and silver, and you know what? You're not. It's funny that those two comments came almost back to back. Smack that says economy is scary right now, and then Gala says, buy silver and gold mining stocks, right? With those at the highs right now, I guess there could be fear and optimism in the market right now, both at the same time. So again, be cautious with the market right now. But I think that was interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna put that. If I was a betting man, I'd say we're probably not going to be changing the earnings season. How we're going to do that, but we'll see here. Bassett says TikTok deal framework reached with China. Trump and Xi will finalize it Friday. This was all over the news, and finally it disappeared from the news, but now it's back, right? Troy says, or would there be bigger swings because of longer duration? Interesting. I jump back into RIO, which is gold, copper, and lithium. Okay, Pennywise, getting a little bit of diversity with your miners. I can't be mad at that. Yes to defense, fiscal year budgets and contracts coming up October 1st, 2025. Now, that's a good one to pin to the comment section right here. So, yeah, if you're trading defense stocks, those contracts coming up October 1st, right around the corner here. But yeah, TikTok here. Congress passed a law prohibiting App Store operators like Apple and Google from distributing TikTok in the U.S. given its status as a foreign adversary-controlled application. Trump administration faced a September 17th deadline to either divest TikTok's U.S. business or shut it down, right? And that's not that far away. Today's only the 15th, so we'll find out TikTok's fate by the end of this week. See what happens. Now, here's an interesting story here. Also, somewhat political related, but this could bring some optimism or some news momentum. U.S. and Britain to sign flurry of major nuclear power deals during Trump's state visit, right? The announcement reaffirms and embraces nuclear power by both countries, right? Where is it at here? The golden age. Oh, here it is right here. Amazon and Google signed deals last year to develop SMRs, right? Small modular reactors. You're looking for a reason for these stocks to, pick up some momentum to the upside. They're back in the news, right? Not only here with domestic policy, but now we're talking about international policy as well. So I do have Amazon and Google in the list, along with SMR, and just see if there's any optimism amongst these stocks and really just those small module reactors, the AI data synergy plays, right? That's what it all comes out to. So if you open up your portfolio and you see a little momentum with some of your AI data center energy plays or stocks, this is the story here that's probably, bringing a little enthusiasm to those stocks right now. Linda says, I like the stock, but I never had over doubled. Let's see here. Clear that. Palantir is the leader in AI software. I'm not going to disagree with that. They're definitely a leader in AI software. All right. So talking about leaders right now. The quantum computing space, Rigetti, one of the leaders in that space right here. Rigetti, this is it right here, upgraded to a buy as catalysts like DARPA's QBI program and Rigetti's advancement boost growth prospects, right? Just like Palantir. A lot of this is dependent on government contracts. But I'm seeing article after article. There's, more interest behind, DARPA, Department of Defense, all those entities with these quantum stocks. Now, this article here is saying that the valuation still looks pretty attractive with 33% upside, right? Now, we'll take a look at the VectorVest software. But for the most part, a lot of these quantum stocks are going to be overvalued by the VectorVest metrics, right? So again, and then Friday I did the video on IO and Q. I did put D-Wave in there. I didn't put Rigetti. I just don't want to go over the whole list. I know a lot of the big momentum, a lot of the focus on Friday was with IO and Q, okay? But again, quantum stocks had pulled back. I saw some momentum. The moving averages started to make a little sense here. So if you're trying to find a space with some momentum picking up, take a look at quantum stocks. We'll take a look at some of those today as well. All right. Now, someone mentioned Tesla earlier. This is the whole reason why it moved up. Nope, the robots aren't out. Nope, there wasn't some huge development on the robotic side of things and, a real reason for the stock to go up, right? But no, this is a good reason for the stock to go up. Elon Musk, he's betting on Tesla. Look at this right here. First bullet point. $1 billion bet on Tesla. He's buying back into it. So, again, Elon has proved many people wrong. And I'm not saying I'm here to bet against Elon. But, my concerns about Tesla right now is just solely overvalued as a car company. It's, it has to be more than that. We know it's a data company. We know, it's a robotics company, self-driving technology, that kind of stuff. Stuff has to come to fruition, right? You can see the stock up $25 right now, up 6%. Look at this. It's Musk's largest insider acquisition ever by value, according to verify Veridity data. I thought about that said verify data. Pennywise, Google. So Pennywise says Google better than Tesla. Pennywise, I 100% agree with you. I've been talking about Google for a while. It's been Google, it's been Nvidia, it's been Meta for me this year. So at least as far as the Mag 7 is concerned, right? Tesla, it's just the valuation is too rich for me. It's too volatile. I mean, obviously we know there's swing trade opportunities with Tesla, things like that. But as far as just a buy and hold right now, my money would be on Google, not on Tesla, at least as of right now. Now, if we get some bigger updates when it comes to robotics, which I did do a little research, they're really hoping on the Optimus robots to be launched next year, 2026. Really isn't that far around the corner, though, right? So I could see the stock creeping up before deliveries numbers, because obviously any kind of deliveries number, any kind of news or breakthrough on the robots are probably going to get investors enthused. So if you see the stock creeping up before next year, I could see that being a real thing, but it's a lot of volatility, it's a lot of risk. But again, I would be Google over Tesla right now in general. Meta's a good buy with their conference this Wednesday. I don't know the details of that conference. I'd have to see. Waymo is owned by Google. Yes, Waymo is definitely owned by Google. Again, Elon was early to the party, but Elon has let the competitors catch up right now. And when I say catch up, I mean on the autonomous and the robotic side of things, because that's where the money is right now, right? Whoever comes out with the robot that can replace the worker at a cheap cost, at a cheap price, that's going to be the multi-trillion-dollar robotics company, right? And we'll find out who that's going to be. But Tesla's definitely a contender, and I'm not going to bet against Elon on that. All right, here's another story. China finds Nvidia breached antitrust law and Mellanox deal probe, right? Again, who knows what the actual motivation is here, but we've got TikTok this week. We've got Nvidia back in the news with China. So, who knows? But Nvidia is actually down today. When I was creating my watch list of all the stocks, my news story watch list, they are actually all up today except for Nvidia, right? Nvidia is still caught in the crosshairs. They're still trying to get, but the figures could be anywhere from $5 billion, to tens of billions of dollars of, lost revenue with China, right? Still trying to get that. China's AI and semiconductor announcements are propaganda, to be honest. Pennywise, I'm at work. I'm not getting into propaganda opinions right now. But again, this is what it's right now. It's just antitrust laws, 2020, Mellanox Technologies. That's what it's all about. China probably nitpicking something, right? China's probably nitpicking something. Because, again, they are caught in the crosshairs of this tit for tat between China and the United States. And the biggest thing, really, for China is if they don't buy our chips, their stacks are not going to be on American-made stacks. They're going to have to develop their own stuff, which means that their own infrastructure will get stronger. But then again, the other problem with that's just the lost revenue, right? Nvidia losing billions of dollars, right? That money affects earnings, things of that nature. All right, here's another one. Apple. Who was impressed by Apple's release last week? I'll call it, right? Who was impressed by Apple's release? Wait, China's complaining about antitrust laws. Troy. Yeah, right. But again, I mean, tit for tat. Nvidia's going to be caught in the middle of that tit for tat between China and the United States. Just it is what it is. They need Nvidia chips so badly. Yes, I'm not gonna say they don't need Nvidia chips badly. I'm trying to think how to put that. But as time goes on, I think their dependence on Nvidia chips are going to be less and less, needed, right? They really do need Nvidia. Yes, I'm not going to say they don't need Nvidia for at least the time being, right? Or at least the next couple years for sure. But after the next couple years, I mean, really, who knows, right? But, they're not. And again, the numbers could also be not quite accurate because of black market computer chips. I'm also seeing a lot of articles about that pop up, right? So, we'll see. But yes, I definitely think they need Nvidia's chips. But it's a balancing game with both countries, right? Pennywise, in fact, a big reason why they want Taiwan is because they need TSM. Pennywise, every country, every major military in the world relies on TSM, right? They want TSM. They want to, have their technology. They want to recreate their technology. Let's be honest. They're the leaders, right? But you can see, look at this. This is what it comes down to. Apple failed to deliver meaningful innovation at its latest iPhone launch. But who thinks, who was excited about the Apple launch? Who even watched it, right? Who even watched it? The only reason I watched it really because just to see what the stock would react. It really for the purpose of these videos, right? Stay on top of it. But I didn't really see anything. This guy ultra remain on bearish on Apple. This analyst here from Seeking Alpha, it's just a high valuation. And that's funny that I agree with that because in the VectorVest 7 software, it is also high evaluation. That's why I didn't make my Mag 7 list like, Meta or Google or Nvidia because those three were very undervalued, right? Boring Apple event. I watched it. Yeah, lackluster, right? Lackluster. This is also why, ironically, they won't invade Taiwan. They can't afford to risk TSM destroying proprietary info. Yeah. That's could also be at Pennywise. Let's see here. Apple is dying. Apple doesn't excite me one bit. I don't think Apple really invests exciters. You don't see too many like retail groups or retail traders, talking about Apple anymore, right? The Apple launch was more like applesauce. Oh, dear. All right, I won't pick on Apple anymore. Let's get back to the software. Let's take a look how the stocks are doing. Let's see how Apple is doing since the event last week, actually. All right, the major indices still in positive territory. We can see the NASDAQ still within that 1%. Again, I don't see too many major moves between today or tomorrow leading into the interest rate decision. But, come Wednesday, it's going to start getting volatile, and that volatility is probably going to tick up all the way, probably right into the weekend. We'll see how next week, how we'll really see how the dust settles by next Monday, if I had to say. All right, let's go to the viewers tab. News picks. All right, auto fit. Oh. All right, here we go. What do we got? 9 stocks here. We have Google and Amazon along with SMR. This has to do, again, with the Trump administration. Now he's overseas touting, really just the expansion of nuclear energy and how it's, really going to be needed for AI development, AI, growth in the Western nations. But one thing I did find from that, you do have SM here, this SMR double leverage ETF here. They got ETFs on, because when it first came out, you guys noticed that with the ETFs, at first it was like the Mag 7 or, the big stocks, maybe a Broadcom. But now there's a lot of stocks that have ETFs to leverage them. So, again, if you like the AI data center play, you want a little more bang for your buck, you want a little more leverage for your buck, but yet you're not quite, option savvy, hey, you could check out a double leverage ETF. But again, it's double leverage, so it's going to be more volatile than, just the, the regular entity. True, I can't bring myself to start. Pennywise says, true, Bill, but I can't bring myself to start a position in Apple. But looking at the stocks here, new scale up, a little bit off the news. Maybe some other stocks there have, some other AI data center plays have a little bit more momentum here. But you could see the double leverage up just 0.3%. And actually, I'm thinking that's pulled back because I think I remember seeing this just over 2% today. We'll take a look at the charts here in just a second. I've had a guess. I think it jumped up with that enthusiasm and then kind of trickling back. We take a look. Tesla, it's still up 5% here. Like I said before, they were all up. Looks like Rigetti went back down. IO and Q, look at that follow through from Friday's momentum there. Again, quantum stocks, they were on my radar last week just because the moving averages were starting to make sense amongst the batch of the typical quantum plays here. We're seeing some follow through with that when it comes to IO and Q. If we take a look at Rigetti here, $18. We've had $1.48. So, clearly not going to agree with the analyst from Seeking Alpha here. He's thinking from a value play, 33% more upside potential. That might be the case if I take a look at the chart, maybe another swing up. Because, these quantum stocks can swing pretty much, but I'm not going to go 30. I don't see 33% upside potential just based off of, some, fundamental analysis, maybe off of technical analysis. But the rest of the batch here, not bad. Look, Apple is up today. So, we can't pick on Apple too much. I see IO and Q as and RGTI as acquisition targets for companies like Google, Microsoft, and Nvidia. I do as well, Pennywise. I definitely do as well. Let's see here. Clear that one. Tabula says Tesla is not a buy, even though up 30% this month. Tesla here is actually, it's a hold. RT's above 1. VST's above 1. Must have to do with the stop price. It might not be diverging away from the stop price. Or it may have been a buy, and it may have gone to a hold. It may not just have earned that buy rating back quite yet. Actually, let's take a look at the charts here. Let's take a look at these stocks. Because I know a lot of these stocks you guys are holding. So these are going to be good stocks to talk about. Google, look at that move. This stock here, you can see it broke this trend line here. Actually came back down to retest it. These are all my little levels I was looking at. This was $160, and I was at $249. Look at the value here. It just keeps climbing. I really like Google. If you don't want to buy it or if you don't want to start a new position, if you want to add some positions, to an existing in Google and some momentum, hey, that's up to you. But yeah, probably not the best day to start a new position. Being a little overextended in my opinion. I like this breakout. This is beautiful here. Forecasted data for a Mag 7 company. That's great data there. If you match this up with some of the others in the Mag 7, 18% and 14% are great numbers here. Earnings per share steadily rising over the last year. Google's a great stock. Cannot lie. Chewy looks like it has hit support and should now move up again. Might be able to take a look at Chewy. Take a look at some stocks here, just a few. Here's Nvidia. Again, Nvidia, like I said, it's really just this channel. I've said, what I say is kind of copying TSM, right? I said TSM was the first one to break that ascending channel. It didn't really, just pull back quite a bit. Just kind of taking a breather, right? These semiconductors have been on a run right now. But what I like, look, Nvidia, look at the value. Continues to tick up right now. The value's at 185. What happens when the value hits $200? When value hits $200 at Nvidia, maybe we should have an Nvidia party that day, right? But value keeps climbing. I mean, it was at 120 a year ago. It's doubled in the last 12 months, well, almost doubled. But look at the growth rate, sales growth rate. I mean, that's probably one of the best ones you're going to find in the Mag 7s, the Nvidia. Great numbers here. I see a lot more growth in Nvidia. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if it hits $200 by the end of this year. I'm really not. But let's see. We'll see what happens here. Here's Amazon. Still steadily rising here. What's the forecasted at? 13%. That's right. I do have a lot of Mag 7 stocks today in the news, right? We got Google with 18, 14. Yeah, Amazon here, 24, 13. But Amazon, I like Amazon. I've been pretty transparent that I've got my mom in Amazon a while back. Still a good stock. It's just a little over on the valued side right now. Forecasted data, still good. 24, 13% rising earnings per share. But again, just like Nvidia, just kind of taking a breather right now, right? Kind of moving to the side after the big jump these stocks have had the last few months. Here's Apple again, overvalued, and look, some of the weakest forecasted data of the Mag 7 stocks. This is actually interesting. I didn't really plan that we had all these Mag 7 stocks here, but while we're talking about it, it just kind of worked out well, right? But look at this, overvalued, weakest forecasted data. That's one of the reasons why, I stuck to those three. Not so much off of just a personal opinion, but more so, leaning into the VectorVest 7 software. Not saying that Apple's a bad stock, but just, looking at these indicators, I would be more comfortable with those three. But hey, not horrible numbers, but again, I mean, these are all great companies here. Linda says, I sold Amazon last week. Hey, as long as you sold with a profit and you're happy with it, Linda, not a bad thing. Let's scroll down here. Here's IO&Q. Look at that, man. I tried. I was late to the party. So Friday, I did not realize the investor event was happening Friday. If you jumped in it, Friday afternoon or this morning based off of that video, hey, but I'm going to tell you right now, might be, it's a little too steep there. That ain't going to work. But yeah, that's a big move to the upside. The investor event created that enthusiasm, but you can see the moving averages here starting to show a little optimism here. Broke through my level of resistance clearly. That's why I just pushed the video out. But hey, IO&Q, if you're holding it, I know you've got to be happy right now. Just make sure you protect profits along the way. Don't forget, you can always buy back into a stock. But if I had to guess, now that the stock is now approaching $60, critical levels of support going forward, maybe around $54, $55 here, and then around 50. So yeah, 49. So let's say 49.50, and again around 55. These would be your critical levels of support going forward. It was like an analyst event, James. I'll put it this way: pretty much what Apple did last week was what IO&Q did, like an investor analyst event, just showing about their product holders, things like that. Pennywise says, I think about all those MSTY bag holders. MSTY, what are the yield maxis doing? I'm not going to, me, I've never really been a big advocate of the yield maxis. But this is, look at it. This stock was $30. If you bought it at 30, which was about right here, right? Or higher, you're down 50% on your initial investment. Even here. That's bad. MSTY is the MSTR CC ETF. That's MicroStrategy, right? Yeah, MicroStrategy. I'd rather be a Bitcoin holder. And hey, if you're looking for a dividend, you could stake some Ethereum, stake some Solana. There's much better ways. Again, you have to I don't know the exact dividend figures, but it has it's hard to justify it. I'll put it like that. It's hard to justify it. I've never been too big on the yield maxis. You really have to dig in and see how it's calculated, right? All right, but IO and QA, again, I didn't realize the analyst day was Friday, but essentially, yeah, it was kind of like the Apple day, but for IO and Q. And clearly, doesn't matter what I think about with the products, because I mean, I'm no expert in quantum, mechanics. I've obviously learned a lot doing some of these videos. But what I care more about is what investors think. And the fact that I'm seeing follow through now on a Monday over the weekend, hey, that's good. I mean, am I going to chase it? You got to ask yourself what your strategy is. I mean, there could be some more momentum there. Let's go out to a year. See what we got here. Actually, go back further here. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything out there. Nope. No resistance levels to go off of. All right, here is Rigetti. We got RGTI here. Nice lower left, upper right. Again, this is the breather I was talking about, right? Seeing the moving averages, seeing a little bit of optimism, seeing some nice retest here around the 40. That's why I was already getting ready to put the quantum video. But then when I saw IO and Q up, and then, some confirmation, like this stock obviously broke out, because, if I would have made a video, it probably would have been, if you want confirmation, break, swing high. But now, this is what I'll say is, if since it's already broke above it, look for the retest on here. If you see a bottom wick, see a little pivot or something, hey, these stocks might just run some more. I mean, these quantum stocks, you never know these quantum stocks, right? There can be some momentum here, and we're seeing a lot of news coming out lately of these stocks, right? So we'll take a look. But yeah, Rigetti also, forecasted data, that's not going to be the prettiest of the batch. I can tell you right now, negative in both categories. Here's Tesla. Tesla, look, there's the breakout from here. Full body candlestick. Big gap up. I do see profit taking there. Still trying to fight its way back to the prior high. Let's see what this little tip here brings us. Yep, that's exactly what, yeah. You're going to, Tesla's a hard one, right? I mean, the forecasted data, look at negative in both categories, -6, -12. I still think it's just short-term optimism. But again, the robot stuff, the deliveries, that technology is supposed to be out next year. So you can see investors already baking in that premium even more. I mean, the stock we value at $28, right? So, yeah. Stick to the technicals. And at this point, I'd probably, maybe Bollinger Bands. But right now, we're seeing price action hit this upper wick here. You can see it actually touch from the top and bottom. So a little resistance, probably caught in the zone right now. That's why we're seeing a pretty short body on this. All right, let's go to 6 months. Oh, actually, this is shorter. So this is that SMU. This is that 2 times leverage SMR. It was at $40. Now it's at $21. So wow, the stock itself. We'll take a look at SMR. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It was from 50 to 36. So you can see the stock just, oof. It looks like the ETF came out right at its high too. You notice that? This may not be a bad dip. You see price action. This is my level, level of resistance. You can see it broke it, came back, retested it, came up again, came back, retested it. But yeah, as long as price action can stay above this zone right here, that double leverage one ETF might not be a bad dip. But again, you got to be a believer. This is SMR. This is a small modular reactor. So just be careful of that. But I mean, the forecasted data on this stock, 20 sales, 733. You can see the value here. The premium is baked in. So that's what I'm saying. Focus more on the technicals right now. I do like the forecasted data. That's why investors are paying a premium right now. Let's see. Your Tesla could use its space technology to transform transatlantic commuting. I can see that. Okay. SYM is another good robotics company. SYM. Let's take it here. See if he found us a gem here. Machine automation. I think, am I wrong? Is this a stock that Glenn did maybe in one of his robotics videos back in the day? I don't think I've even done a robotics video yet. Maybe I should do one. But what I do like is that big body candlestick today. We got rejection at the 20, came back down, broke the 20. Right now, we're actually breaking that 40. So let's get price action, stay above that 40. Let's get a close. Pennywise says maybe, I don't remember. Pennywise says, I'm still putting more money into my midstream stock positions as indirect AI data center plays. Okay. SYM, I like it. It's just overvalued. You know, a lot of these robotics, a lot of these futuristic companies, you know, do trade at a premium. That's just how it is, especially, well, to our VectorVest metrics and in general. Great forecasted data, though. I like it. Not a bad stock. Showing some life. This could be a good dip to buy. And if you've been holding it, hey, not a bad plan. All right, let's get out of this one here. Let's get back to software here. Let's go to your picks. All right, hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button. What was the and why you guys hit that like button? What were the earning stocks this week that we missed? What were the earning stocks this week? Were there any? And we're going to do, for every 10 likes, you get one stock pick. Just as Glenn did it. Ryan, can you look at TER? It was TER and earnings one. FDX, that was right. FDX. What was any other earnings this week? Stocks down 4% here. Let's go over to the left. Overvalued. Fundamentally, not much here at all. DRS has earnings as well. Pennywise, is that true? Let's see your view stock graph. Look at this. Undervalue falling, price action falling. That's why I don't do a lot of bottom fishing on undervalued stocks if value is also falling in the process, right? Because value could keep falling. And now FedEx is going up. Price is starting to find a level of support, but so is value. If you see, look here, value looks like it's flattening out around $200 right now. So FedEx is overvalued. Forecasted data, not phenomenal at all. Not at all. Tabula says, waiting for Ryan to say go. You know, Tabula, you know that's the rules, right? None of those stocks are going to come through. Let's see here. We got 65 likes. All right, that's going to be 7 stocks. Perfect. Jeff says, Ryan, I got email on the new VectorVest Launchpad. Is it still like VV7? It's a total different format. It's all the same powerful information, but just in a different format. I like it a lot, though. I like it a lot. It's much more streamlined. But you know, I'm still playing around with it as well. So I'm not going to speak on it too much at this time. But I'm still playing around with it as well. I like the charting, and I like how the information is presented, though. All right. Let's go out of here. Let's get it done. You know what time it is. Delete item. Actually, just go to your picks. All right. You know what time it is. The first 7 stocks coming across the comment section are the first 7 that come through. Let's see. We got TER, MSTR, RTX. Ooh. Y'all are quick draw McGraws today. CYBR. Katos. Let's see here. ITR. Wait, I think that's 7. You might got. Oh. All right. We'll finish with even 10 because I meant to put that one in there anyways. All right, you got three extras today. And a lot of new names in the list. There's some familiars, but there's a lot of new names in this list as well. So I'm pretty interested. A lot of enthusiasm, at least for the bulls. The only one down today, MSTR, MicroStrategy. And I'm actually curious to look at MicroStrategy. I am curious to look at it. It's a way to leverage your Bitcoin position, not the way I would choose, but hey, it is what it is. Here we got the poll results here. Do you think we will get a half a point or a quarter point? 76% is thinking half a point, 24% quarter point. My opinion, I probably think we're going to get a half a point. Half a point, and the jobs data would be the sole reason why. Well, not the sole, but the biggest reason why. The biggest influential is that jobs revisions data that came out last week. All right, but in these stocks here, see the biggest mover today actually is going to be CDE at the top of the list here, which is, look at this, still undervalued right now. Price action at 16.54, we value at 21.89. Kratos Defense still moving to the upside. Another big mover today, Iren Energy, Iris Energy, IREN. I like Iris Energy quite a bit here. See, you scroll over to the right, see what kind of diversity here we can get. So we got mining and gold, aerospace and defense, crypto here, financial. Now this one here, I did a video on crypto stocks, what was that, about 2-3 weeks ago. It's AI data center plays, and a lot of momentum was coming out of some of those stocks there. Let's see here. Growth rate and earnings was the top one. The CDE. Yeah, look at that top. Other than the safety rating, this stock has got a lot going for it. Not getting the best safety here, but everything else is phenomenal. Look at the RT relative timing, 1.92. Whew. All right, let's graph these. Just looking over the last year, that is phenomenal. The momentum we are seeing with this position right now, especially over the last 6 months. Price action is rising. Value is rising. Strong buy rating. Forecasted data. The sales growth rate greatly outpacing earnings growth rate, which is a good sign to see. Rising earnings per share here. Everything looks good. Everything looks real good. You see the RT relative timing? Sustaining above 1 now for the last few months here. Big body candlestick today. I like what I see with the stock. Here's Kratos Defense. I've been talking about this line as long as price action stays above this line here. You can see came back down, retest, pivoted off it, came back down. We got bottom wicks, 4 bottom wicks in a row. Buyers came in right on that 40-day. Right back to the upside. Kratos Defense still going to be bullish on it, until we get a big break in this line here. But every time price action went below this line, you can see a bottom wick there. Interesting. The stock is overvalued. So again, I'd stick to the technicals. I've been talking about this line. This is probably the number one thing I would focus on with this stock right here. Just the stock's already so overvalued. Investors just baking in that premium here. And the goal at the end of the day is to run with as much premium as you can, right? Run with those profits. Forecasted data, though, no concerns there. 17%. Great stock. Rising earnings per share. I like it overall. Here's the Nova. Over the last 6 months, it's not like a big run or anything, but it seems to be a nice steady stock over the last few months here. Value keeps rising, price actually keeps rising. And I've talked about this before, but if you see here, because people talk about channels and buying on the dips on overvalued stocks, you see the valuation just on the decline here for quite some time. And if you're watching this from home, let me make this bigger so you can see it. You see the value declining, right, nice and steadily. You see that? And you see price action just flat during that time frame. I've talked about it before. Instead of looking for price action confirmation, sometimes looking for value to start ticking up. Because if we notice here, little horizontal line, value ticked up here, hit a higher high, right? And then it broke another high right here. So broke this high from before and this high. So from here, I'm seeing not only price action breaking some highs, from this high and that high and that high, but I'm seeing value do the same thing. I'm getting confirmation both from fundamental standpoint and on a technical standpoint. So whether your goal was, as an, an investor, more longer term, you could have used this to look at. Or just a simple momentum trade, because you see that pent up momentum, right? This is the quick momentum trade, right? If you were greedy, you would have had to hold through all this whipsawing. But this was the quick breakout here. But yeah, I like how the value's climbing, price action's climbing. Forecasted data, both in the 20s. I like it. It's a good stock here. ENVA is the name of the stock, Innova International. S is another one that has a lot of cyber warfare. Does VV have a relative strength against the VV comp or SPY? No, not to my knowledge. I'm not going to give you a definitive answer, but not to my knowledge, Jeff. Pennywise, I actually sold all of my cyber shares when the news broke 2 months ago, but put the money into Google and Katos. Well, Pennywise, if you put it into Katos and Google, hey, and I can't be mad at it, right? Here's Iris Energy. This is the breakout that I was speaking of when I did the crypto stock. Again, I like these stocks because not only can you get, obviously crypto momentum, behind it, but now that they're seen as some AI data center plays, anytime you get a news story, news breakout, with these companies teaming up with AI or hyperscaler, obviously you can get a stock very excited. But these are good stocks. I have a list. Maybe I can move this over here. I wonder if it is this one. Yeah, I think it was this year. I think this was it. It was a video I did not long ago. But these were some of those stocks that I was talking about that could have some potential, momentum to the upside, or potential for growth, not because of the crypto, but because of AI demand. All right, see here. Do your picks. So there was iron, but still, look at the forecasted data, 37%, 171. And what I like about this, even though the stock is rocking and rolling, the value, it was flat, but look at the forecasted data now. It's ticking up quite a bit. It went from $10 to about 15, so it's up 50% in the last few months too. So I do like that from a fundamental standpoint. Earnings per share ticking up. It does look good. I know crypto is volatile, so at least if I'm going to get something volatile and crypto related, at least I want to see some good, data, at least from a fundamental standpoint, or forecasted data standpoint. Let's see here. Here's Cyber, CYBR, CyberArk Software. Nice. You can see this was level of resistance here, broke out, kind of kept used as a level of support, and then finally started ticking back up. Just overvalued. My only concern here. Forecasted data is obviously great. Earnings per share, it was faltering, but now we've made up for that. Is Ryan a miner? And yes, I am a miner. Actually, Bill, I am a miner. And I mean it by that is I'm a 49er miner. It's UNC football. Nobody probably knows what that is. It's UNC Charlotte football. But CyberArk, I like the overall chart pattern. Lower left, upper right. Hey, the only thing I'm consistent about is the value, right? The value just not getting me excited there. Here is Rocket Lab. You see Rocket Lab. Look at Rocket Lab trying to make its way up here. Roger, thank you for that super chat here. Roger, you got a stock you want to me to break down real quick, Roger? Roger, put in the symbol for that super chat. Everyone put in some VVs in the comment section. Thank you, Roger, for the super chat here. Again, all of your donations help make the channel possible. Miners don't have full-sized beards. Roger, did you have a pick? Let's see here. I'm trying to scroll through the comment section, see in case you had one. Roger said the last, so I'll just see if you did have a stock pick. Roger says FFGMF is up 30% since you mentioned it 2 weeks ago. FFGMF? What do you mean, Roger? I don't think that was it. FF. Oh, MGF. Oh, yeah, I remember this little guy, Roger. Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I remember that one. Yeah, I was talking about the penny stocks. Hey, I'm pretty sure no one even watched that video. I think that was one of those videos that didn't even get 1,000 views. I know there was one gold video that stunk, but again, I think that, look at that stock. I mean, what was it? Went from 12, 14 cents here, now up to 22 cents. Woo! That's a big one. How does that Bitcoin stuff work? Do you buy it like a stock? Jeff, I'm not going to get a Bitcoin right now. We're about to wrap up. That's a whole ordeal. Pennywise says, hey, I watched that video. Pennywise, but did you buy it? Nah, I'm just messing, Pennywise. Hey, that's good. Like, again, my whole objective here is to just, A, show you the strength of the software, and B, make you a believer in the software by using it to find you fish, right? And I don't treat it, I don't use a whole lot of rocket science in my approach, right? VectorVest does all the rocket science for me, all the math stuff, right? All I know how to do is navigate the software, and that's why I try to teach you. Try to do it like that. Can you suggest some more penny stocks? Hey, it's funny you say that because today's video is going to be on penny stocks, but it is actually not. But we are going to do a penny stock video soon. I will do one soon. Didn't buy a penny stock. But yeah, interesting. Thank you for that. But Roger, did you have a stock pick for today, or were you just giving me that to look out? And then Ollie G, super chat, $2. Thank you for that, Ollie G. Do you have a stock pick as well? Roger, I could give you a stock pick, and Ollie G, if you got a stock pick, let me know, and I can get both of those. What is it? Roger and Ollie, I'll take your stock picks, and then we'll go back to the other customer picks here. Roger, did you leave? You just give me some money and leave? But no, I think, Roger, you were just saying thank you for that super chat. Hey, I appreciate it. But if you do want to stock, I got you. First one, play Dave and Buster's. Interesting. Well, I will say this. We just had this conversation, did we not? Let's actually just take that off. Let's do this horizontal line here. Look at value decreasing, right? Just lower. So if I'm bottom fishing, right, I'm looking at Dave and Buster's, and I got some patience, the impatient, we just kept, buying the dip, all the way down, right? Here, you see price action, actually, the bullish divergence, because you see price action going up and value going down. Well, I guess that would be a bearish divergence. But you see price action stabilize, but value start to tick up for the first time, right? You see value stabilize, starting to tick up, and take out those prior highs, right? So now trending up and taking out the prior highs. And price action doing the same, right? So because now I see value rising, which this little dip here does have me concerned. But in general, now you're seeing rejection here. I'm not sure what your objective is, but From a short-term technical perspective, I'm going to be bearish. Looking at forecasted data as far as an investment, bearish. Earnings per share is declining. RT is negative. No. I mean, this would have been the nice bottom fishing. You went from what, $20 to 30, 35. What, up almost doubled your money. At some point, you got to take some profits. I mean, if these upper wicks here didn't scare you, especially the break in the 40 here. But yeah, right now I'm going to be bearish. Earnings is today. I can't get too amped up with these earnings, about earnings with this forecasted data. That's just my personal opinion on it. And as far as the other position here, and I do see ITRG, Roger. Thank you for that. This one actually, this is interesting here. This is a low dollar stock, not very expensive. It's under $7, $6.69. Look at the value though. Not only is it greatly undervalued, almost $9, $8.81. But look at the look. This is what I like. Look, value, just nothing here, right? Nothing to get me excited. But now there's some data coming in to get people excited, right? You see 20%, 24% sales growth rate jumping up to 16% here. It was negative. Wow, this actually might. Hey, they might pay you for this stock. Ollie G, they might need to pay you for this one. They might make some money off of hearing this. But I mean, look at that. Sales growth rate negative. Earnings growth rate was all negative. This could be a great stock here. I mean, just looking at the forecasted data, the turnaround story, the RT, you know, I'm actually starting to see some substantial RT actually above 1 here, or just, you know, a little hit here, a little hit there. But now we're actually seeing RT kind of turning around a little bit more. I kind of like it. Not going to lie. That's not a bad stock. Especially now. I mean, obviously the moving average is in our favor, but just looking at the data, looking at the value, this is not a bad play here. And what was the other stock here? ITRG. This is a mining company. Integra. That value keeps rising. That price keeps rising. Up again today. Look at earnings growth rate, 29%. And again, interest rate cuts. Typically, you know, good for gold, right? Good for gold. So anything gold, yeah, I mean, there's real no concern here. The only thing I will say, I mean, again, I don't know if you're thinking more long-term investment or if this is a swing trade, but with a big jump from $1.50 to $3, I mean, you've almost doubled your investment. You got to ask yourself, what was your goal, right? You know, taking some off the table or, you know, however you want to do it, but don't forget your initial goal. Because again, you know, especially if you bought this around $1.50 or less, you know, I don't know exactly when you bought, or even at $2, you know, you're up almost 50% pretty short time. You could switch something to like a 3 and 8 or a Bollinger Band, right? All righty. What time is it? Because I think we are over, right? Is that it? Yeah, that's the last stock. Nice. But yeah, good stock picks there. Oh, those are the. All right, let me get to these stock picks now. Thank you for that. That one we already did. Look at that. That's still going at full body. Kratos, as long as it's above the line. And Nova International. That's the one where we left off, right? With value decreases. It started to jump up there. Nice. I don't like that upper wick, though. I do not like that upper wick. I'm telling you right now. I think I got you around $20. You know, if you were watching the video, so I have to see when I made that video. But you could see with the breakout from this prior swing high here, this wick here. I mean, from $20 to almost 40. Don't get too greedy. Don't get too greedy. Not saying that the run's over, but don't get too greedy. CyberArk software. I still like this. Lower left, upper right. That's a good one here. Tabula says we are past the hour, but you're not here on Friday. So, ... Oh, dear. No, we're not doing that. Joey's going to be mad at me. Rocket Lab. I've talked about this before here. So, this was the cup. I mean, if this thing starts jumping up again, I mean, that's that long-term resistance line. I mean, that's another big jump. So, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be in a rush to short it just in case. That's for sure. Here's Teradyne. diverging away from value. I do like this scoop here, close to this 40-day. If you're looking for some confirmation, maybe get back above the 20. But what I don't like is that value rolling over. Forecasted data is not going to get me too enthused here. Yeah, I do like this scoop up on this 40-day. But yeah, let's get back above the 20 here. Otherwise, we still got the buy rating. We haven't even lost that yet, so I wouldn't get too concerned. Is Teradyne semis? Instrument, scientific? I'm not sure what they do. Actually, but I could do this, find out. Yeah, they are. Semiconductor test, robotics. Okay. So yeah, semiconductors, robotics, things of that nature. So they are in that, I don't know if it's exactly a semiconductor, but yes, they do have exposure to semis and robotics. They're in that space. I don't like that value rolling over, but that's a good momentum though. Interesting pick there. I'd have to find out more about it. Here's RTX. Look at that value. Value's almost caught up with price action here. I mean, look, no life in value, but look when that life started coming. I love seeing value just flat, and then all of a sudden you start to see life in value, right? And look at the forecasted data, not bad. It's still in this, range bound area I have from about 158 to about 152 here. Still pretty range bound. So, no real clear direction yet, if you're loading up on it, trying to figure it out. But, the direction is going to really start being determined once price action moves out of this range bound area around 158 on the upper end and around 152 on the bottom end. Here's ITRN. I mean, value's rising, price action's rising. Not a bad dip, but right now, you're right at the 20-day EMA. Could get rejection there, but what I like is I see a full-body candlestick. So let's get price action above there today. And if we get an open or some follow-through coming tomorrow, hey, may not be a bad dip. Stock's undervalued. Forecasted data is positive. RT is still in favor of the bears. So if you do that, just know you are doing that aggressively, right? If you want more confirmation, least you could do is wait for RT to get back above 1. Or you could, maybe tiptoe into the position, right? Doesn't have to be all or nothing. Look at MicroStrategy here. There it goes. So that was their transition from their Bitcoin. You could see the value creeping up here. I had talked about this when I did a MicroStrategy video, because I said the MicroStrategy company itself was around $20. I don't know. I did it with the market cap. I had to do with the price of their Bitcoin, but I think it put me around like 150, 140. It was a while ago. My opinion, MicroStrategy is trading at a premium, and actually VectorVest value here, because I haven't looked at this stock in a while, it's creeping up, right? And it all has to do with Bitcoin, right? But still trading at a premium right now. And look how volatile it is. I mean, this thing was $500. That was at 326. It's a lot more volatile than Bitcoin, right? It's a lot more volatile than Bitcoin. You can see the forecasted data. Look, the growth rate was negative. It was climbing. Sales growth rate was actually negative, and it's climbing. So, I mean, hate it or love it, but the forecasted data it's starting to improve a little bit. But yeah, it's just not there for MicroStrategy. It's not how I personally would play Bitcoin. It's not how I personally would play Bitcoin. All right, it's past 1 o'clock. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. Again, do not forget, you can just go to vectorvest.com/stream. We've got the 2-day investment seminar. It's not just me. We got Steve Chappell there, Ron Wheeler. A lot of the heavy hitters are going to be there. So check us out. Again, that's Saturday and Sunday. We'll be streaming it live on YouTube. Otherwise, if you are going to be there, we'll see you there in person. We'll go have some fun in Las Vegas. All right, everybody. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.